Okay. So, hi Rukma, I'm Nandini here, welcoming you to Women of GSB. This is Rukma Prabhu from Kochi. She is a master's in human resource management, a PGDCA, and a bachelor in nutrition and diet. Welcome Rukma to Women of GSB.
Thank you so much, Akka.
Okay, and see, this is just to throw some light on the prospects and those areas of studies where our children can benefit, and also the mothers who can help them, because we are a sandwiched generation, if I can say so. Like mothers like maybe my generation are especially the GSBs are not very well aware of what is happening, how she can help the child, who's aspiring to go out and learn more and new things. So Rukma, as a professional who has been experienced for about 10 years in this field as a student counselor for an international agency, I thought you can shed some light on this topic.
Definitely. Yeah, you can just ask me, whatever are the queries, and I'll be answering.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not, again, I just got some feedback from my son. So I'll just frame some questions for you. I think not, wasting time. I think we can go directly to the questions now. So my first question to you would be, I think you have quit the job as a student counselor in the agency you were working in. And now I get to know that you want to start on your own. How do you find the prospects?
Basically, if you're looking at the prospects of students abroad, studying abroad or planning abroad, as of now, this year has been a lull year for us.
Yeah, can you be a little more louder,
because
please?
of the COVID and because of the COVID, it's been a dull year actually. Okay. Even 2020 was a dull year, even 21, because of the restrictions and because, all the, COVID factors in place. But then we are expecting, the industry is expecting a steep hike in the number of students who are planning on abroad studies, because whoever wasn't able to go last year and this year are definitely, if you are interested in study abroad, you will definitely look for that. So Jan 22 and September 22, we are expecting a huge hike in the number of students, especially Indian students, who would be willing to go abroad and study because of the exposure that they get internationally, which in India, it's kind of really difficult. Only, the niche kind of students are able to get that. The normal students, the mid-level students are finding it difficult to get here. So definitely there's going to be a steep hike in the number of students who are going abroad next year.
So you are here to milk the cow.
Pardon, your voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear you.
You are here at the right time to milk the cow who's ready for milking, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all the best
you can
for
say
your
that.
New venture. So let's start with the questions now. See, where do you find yourself? Because it's now it's a flood of information. You open the internet and it gives you the newest information possible. And where do you find these agencies at this juncture?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. Where do you find what?
It's an era of internet where you can find the newest possible information from around the world. So a student who aspires to go out of his country in search of new education, new prospects, everything, can just log into the internet and find out whatever he wants. So where do you position yourself between the student and the information and all these things?
See, basically, for whatever is given in the internet may not be the correct answer. So if you meet people who have been in this industry, internet, I definitely agree, gives you the updated information, but then not all information is updated there. So I will definitely recommend that you meet somebody who has been in this industry for some time, who knows how the process works, who knows how these countries have been behaving all these years. then and only then, like, proceed with it. Because if you could entirely rely on the internet, you might, what happens is students do that, but then finally
Yeah.
at the fag end, if the visa is rejected,
Mhm.
or you're not able to enter the country of your choice or the university of your choice, then the loss is the students, right? So it's always
Okay.
better that you use the help of an experienced person.
Okay, and you can find the authenticity of the place you are going. You can find the local help and all such things through these kind of agencies. So that's where they come in.
You can. Yeah.
Right. What are the general type of questions students or their parents put to you? I see one is the investment needed, right? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how effectively can you guide regarding the investment?
See, basically, it's going to be the requirement of the student, okay, and the parents. So, if the student really, has really good profile, then, even if the university is out of reach for the student, there are definitely possibilities of the students applying for scholarships and getting really good amount in scholarships. There are
Okay.
many scholarships available in different countries, and there are also countries wherein education is kind of free because they need, the people in their age group of 20 and 30. So
Mhm.
if you're looking at such countries, but then there are the pros and cons for each country, for whatever I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
And then there are budget-friendly universities as well. I'm not saying these
Mm.
budget-friendly universities, you shouldn't be looking at them, or these are very bad, really bad ranked universities. No, these universities
Mm.
also have their positives. So it depends. Once I speak to the student and once I speak to the interact with the parents as well, I get to know what exactly are their requirements, and based on that is when, like, I'll be suggesting universities for them. So based on
Okay.
their budget, based on their course of choice, and based on the stay back opportunities, what the student is interested, all these together.
Yeah. Fine with that. Now, I just wanted to know the real as like the aspiring students maybe coming to an age of 20, 21 plus, right? So where should they begin? Where should they start their preparations and be in touch with an agency like yours?
It depends on the country as well, Akka. So, see, if it's going to be US or if it's going to be Germany, for that, there are a couple of exams that you have to complete before you start the process even. Okay,
I
you will
understand.
require your GRE or GMAT, you will require your IELTS. So that has to be
Okay.
completed even before you start your applications. And the
Mhm.
application period for almost all the countries, like, to be on the safe side, and if you're interested in applying for scholarships and everything, it
Mm.
starts 1 year prior. So if a
1 year
student is
prior.
targeting September 22, the student ideally should start the process now, actually, because
Okay.
GRE, you need at least, like, 2 to 3 months of training.
Mm.
Okay, and you can give the exams by September, October, and be ready in time for the scholarships and the applications to start. So if you
Okay.
ask me, in a normal scenario, if the student is, if the student has decided well in advance, then start the process well in advance as well.
Okay. You do the filing of the visa for these students? You
Yes,
help
yes,
them
yes.
file the visa? Yeah. How long does it take?
Each country has its own timeline.
Hmm.
So
But
if
in
it's going to
general?
be anywhere between a month to 3 months.
Okay. And if I may ask about US and Europe?
US, it's going to be like, on the spot, you get the decision. But then you have
Uh-huh.
to fix the appointment, prior.
Okay.
So generally, the students start fixing appointments by May. So
Mhm.
you get the dates by, within 20 to 30 days time. There are two kinds of appointments that you have to fix, one for the biometrics and one for the interview. So once that
Mhm.
is done, you get to know the result then and there. If it's going to be
Okay.
Europe, each country has its own requirement. Each country has its own timeline. Minimum of 1 month to 3 months is what Europe you have to consider. And
What
that
is the
each country
weight
has
of
its own process as
yeah,
well.
yeah, sorry. Okay.
Pardon?
Sorry, one sec. What is the weight of
No problem.
Germany? Germany? What about Germany?
See, Germany, you need generally students fix an appointment as soon as they get the offer letter from the universities.
Mhm.
So the visa appointment takes time. So the appointments aren't available that easily. You have to fix the appointment and you'll have to travel to either the VFS center in your location or to Bangalore, because for Kerala, it's Bangalore that you have to travel to the German consulate. And once you file the visa, it takes a minimum of 4 to 8 weeks.
4 to 8
for the
weeks.
visa too. Yes.
Okay, and now see, many parents may put up their hard-earned money, invest their hard-earned money in the this sector. So there arises a general question that what are the job prospects? For how long does the student have to stay there? Are there any PR prospects and all that? So how do you, can you just shed some light on it?
Yeah, this is a very generalized question that you're asking, because each country has their own, different PR process, stay back and everything. So if you want, I can give you a brief of all the countries. So should I be briefing you on all the countries then?
I think we can do it depending upon the requirements we get from the viewers. Is that fine? Maybe in the comments we can,
sure.
Because it is going to be scheduled in the our channel, Women of GSB in the YouTube. So if there are takers, if there are people who want to post their questions, you can definitely post it for us, and we'll get that answered from Rukma later. So now. What are the courses generally which are much taken by the students from Kerala or India, or are it the management courses, or are it the courses based or out of science?
As far as I've seen, it's majorly engineering and management that the students go.
Oh, okay.
Masters in mechanical, computer science, electrical engineering, so and then it's MSc management, MSc marketing, digital marketing is picking up, data science is picking up now, business analytics is another course that students throng to do. So all these kinds of programs.
One question: what about the data science courses you have offered your students till now? Any which all universities? Just to give a start. Data science.
See, data science. If a student is looking for data science, then the student has to have a background of computer science. Okay, if that is the case, is when the student will be able to apply for data science related programs. And depending on the percentage that the student has scored, if it is the top tier universities, if the student has more than 75-80%, we can look at universities in UK like Manchester, Leeds, all these kind of universities. Mid tier comes like Northumbria, you can look at Swansea, all these kind of universities. Then come the lower tier, wherein you can look for Bedfordshire. All these are the lower tier universities in UK. Similarly, in Australia as well, there is RMIT. There are a group of 8 universities. So there are almost all university, if you're talking about, has a course in data science, because that's a much in demand course.
Okay, and now about the management courses offered. Do you think it's good that a student rightly just jump out of the engineering or other courses he has done for the degree to right away to the management, or does she or he has to wait for some work mileage to add onto his CV?
See, basically, Akka, if a student is opting for an MBA program after the bachelor's, I will not recommend that abroad, because it is really difficult. No. If you're planning on coming back to India, you have a family business to cater to, then yes, an MBA program can be of benefit. But then other than that, if you're planning on settling down or venturing out, looking out for jobs in the country that you're studying, then, MBA will not be an option for you. You can look for an MS management, and engineering students generally look for a course which is called as engineering management, technology management, or project management. Okay, so these type of courses are available, yes, wherein they'll stick on to the basics, but then they'll also be venturing into the management stream. So the job prospects is either the basics or the management.
Okay. So you're not recommending any management courses to these engineering aspirants?
I'm not recommending only MBA. I'm not recommending MBA for any student without work experience, not the management. Management, though, they can go. MSc management, MSc marketing management, yes, you will be finding yourself jobs. But then if it's a freshers MBA without work experience, please don't go for that.
Okay. Okay. And what is the minimum work experience usually people take up for management?
Minimum of 2 years for mid-tier universities. But then if you're looking at the top tier universities, the better ranked universities and all, you need at least 5 years of experience, out of which 3 years has to be supervisory or managerial.
Okay. What is the percentage of influx to our own country after the students go abroad?
That is, you can't say that is too high. Generally, if a student goes abroad, unless and until there is some issue there or you don't get a stay back, they definitely settle down. It's
Okay.
going to be a very negligible
What is
amount if you ask me.
Okay, okay, negligible. Okay, and another thing is what is the percentage of students opting for this family business management courses and coming back to India and managing? Have you had an example to give me? If you have an example to give me.
Yeah, in all my 10, 12 years of experience in this industry, hardly, 5 students who have taken
Uh-huh.
the, MBA and come back, unless and until you want to, otherwise it's not the MBA that the students go, right?
Mhm.
5 students, you can say. The rest students don't opt for MBA unless you want to, come back to India.
Mhm. Okay. What is the proportion of boys to girls opting out of India for this studies?
When I started off, it was majorly boys, but then, a small amount of girl students who were looking for it. But then as of now, I can see that, almost you can say that, 25 to 30 percentage of the students that I meet are girls. At
Okay.
least 30 percentage at
Okay.
least are looking for, study abroad.
Oh, 30% is a good percentage thing. Okay, so
Exactly.
our parents have improved mentality now, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay,
Girls
then
know a route, girls know how to speak to their parents as well.
how to put them in your pockets, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. And so, what are the new prospects you have found out of late for your students? Like, I've come to know about the courses in AI, artificial intelligence, machine
Intelligence.
learning. All these kind of
Exactly.
words are new to mothers like us, and we don't know what's happening. Where are the prospects, and how do you think it's going to go? And which level
See,
is it for the degree level, or is it for the PG level? What level the student should aspire for? Right after the school, or
yeah. See, AI and machine learning are kind of subjects which, only and only if a student is really interested in that, should the student be opting for it. And when
Hmm,
you're talking about an undergraduate student, if you're going to send the kid abroad for 3 years, 4 years to study in an alien country, if,
hmm,
the possibility of the child becoming homesick is much higher.
hmm,
So
hmm,
if the kid will be able to cope with that, because it's not like, you can travel in an hour or two and reach them. You'll need your
yeah,
visa, you'll need to take a flight ticket. So only and only if you feel that the kid will be able to manage, will you, should you be sending them. Ideally, what I've seen is it's only the PG level, like, complete the bachelor's here. So then, the student has a bit of a maturity as well. And then they go for the master's. So AI is a very good topic. Machine learning is very good because our future lies there. Only anywhere you see, it's like, artificial intelligence and computers and machines and everything. That is what the
hmm,
future is in. So if the student is
yeah,
interested, they can definitely take for that, because I, for one, see that, there's going to be a huge demand in the jobs, which is,
okay,
a booming industry now.
yeah. And one of my friend's son, in fact, he had chosen. He was doing his schooling in Delhi, I think, some
Mm-hmm.
international. He
Okay.
got admitted to a US university directly for an entrepreneurship course. Do
Wow.
you
Okay.
find students doing that in our side of the country, and what are the prospects?
Entrepreneurship, yes. If the student is interested in business, I do have, I have met students who are really keen on, starting on their own. But then, the number, if you're going to ask me, is very, limited, because majority
Okay,
of the students, if you look at it, are, after the 12th, the next step that they look at is engineering.
yeah,
Okay. So one or the other engineering. So after
Yeah.
that, if they have to go into entrepreneur, and after that they, move into an IT stream, TCS or Infosys or whatever, and then they develop a passion for IT, and then they go for a master's program. So entrepreneurship and all, hardly, one or two students will be interested in such a program unless and until they are passionate about starting on their own, or they have a business to handle, things like
Yeah.
that. Only and
So
only
what
if
I
it
was
is the
asking
case,
you
then yes.
about somebody who's got a business to handle at home.
Then I
How
recommend the student to take this entrepreneurship program rather than going for an MBA program.
Okay.
I definitely do that, because there is no point in going for an MBA. Go for an MSc in entrepreneurship, wherein you get the in-depth knowledge about how to manage your business. You have you have a classmates who are also passionate like this, the same like you. So that will definitely, boost your knowledge.
Okay. And see, how definite are you that the courses recommended by you to your students are going to be fully accredited? And if not at all, in the midst of the way, if the student finds himself in some problem or the other, how effectively can you help him or her?
Basically, the universities that I recommend are reputed universities approved by the governments of those countries.
Okay.
But then one thing about, studying in UK is that if the student is planning on joining, for a government job in India, that will not work out. Because in India, you have 2 years of masters. If it is a UK masters, it's only for a year.
Yeah.
That the student definitely has to look into. But then other than that, the accreditation part, there is no doubt at all, because whichever university I'll be recommending for my students is definitely approved by those countries. So then there is no question, there is no doubt at all whether, it's going to be accredited back in India. No, it is going to be, completely recognized.
Okay. Okay. And Rukman, another thing, something my son told me about. What is this SOP? SOP.
SOP is statement. Yeah, it's the full form of that is statement of purpose.
Okay. And the statement of purpose.
That is a document. That is a document wherein, like, you explain. See, basically, if it's a one-on-one, a face-to-face interview, the university will know when we are speaking. Like now, you know what I'm trying to tell you. But then when it is over a letter, when you send an application, the university will not be able to judge whether the student is really passionate about what he's saying.
Yeah.
So this document is going to prove to the university that the student is actually keen on joining the university, actually planning on taking the course, and he actually has planned his future with this. So it has to include about the student's bio a bit, then why he's passionate about whatever he studied, why this country, why this course, and where does he see his future after this course.
Okay. And
these details have to be mentioned.
Yeah, so so your kind of an agency can help to get SOPs very effectively done, right?
Yes.
So
we do that,
yeah, okay. And what is your advice, if there is one, for an aspirant, a student, and the parent who's aspiring to go out and expose himself to newer prospects? Can you tell me something about it?
About the SOP?
Not the SOP, in general. About the going
about study
out
abroad.
Yeah.
See, basically, if you're going to ask me, studying abroad will definitely broaden your mindset. It will definitely, like, introduce you to the new culture. It will definitely give the independence, and which in India, to be like, sadly, Indian parents, even I do that with my kids, like we are overprotective. We don't let them, venture out or, struggle or anything. But then once you send them abroad, their entire perspective on life changes. So they, they themselves are able to find solutions to the struggles there, because it's not going to be easy. It's not a cakewalk, because you're going to be all alone. So they themselves are able to find out how to go about doing things. They themselves will go and start their bank account. They'll get the, train pass, bus pass, everything. They'll be working part-time, earning money and spending their own hard-earned money. So they'll get the value of money as well. They'll get to know the value of money as well. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. But then, is it not the parents view at it, like the same parent, has a different view, the child going out and, working in a petrol bunk or working in a pizza house and earning in, but when it comes to our Indian this thing, I can't, as a mother, maybe I won't be happy seeing my son or daughter working at a petrol pump or working at a pizza corner to earn his. So that's our mistake, right?
See, basically, if you're going to let your kid go abroad to study, you're just giving them the freedom that they require, that they look out for. You're teaching them
Yeah,
how to live.
why not here, I'm asking.
In India, because we have this mindset, everybody has a mindset. If a student is, studying and working part-time, so then they are definitely questioned. The parents are questioned. What, are you not able to, afford the, living expenses for your
Yeah.
own kid? So that is not how it should be. It is this, kids' independence. It's that, they have to learn to multitask, basically.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that will definitely, give them a better future is what I've told my kid. He's in 11th now. So I told him, so once you're 18, you better start working part-time and, earn money. So you will get to know the value of money then.
Yeah, very good. And I think Rukma needs a real clap for that. A change in the outlook of a real GSP parent. I appreciate you for that.
No, even
And
here, everybody at home, supports my view. Kids have to, because everything, we deliver everything to them on the platter. They don't
yeah,
know, the hard work behind that. So only and
yeah.
only if they go out, they look at the struggle, will they be able to, learn something is what, even here, Amma and, my husband and everybody, they have the same viewpoint. So, it's like you can call the
Okay.
entire family has the same viewpoint.
That's a very good thing. And see how what is the ratio of GSPs going out and doing their studies?
GSP is not much,
Not much.
not much, not much. When you compare, because we are a smaller community, right?
Yeah, smaller community, but I'm not talking only from Kerala, but Karnataka has
Then
and
yeah, definitely. No, I was talking about only Kerala as this thing. But then yeah, GSP community, they are looking out for now, looking out going abroad. They are open-minded now, not like earlier, say 10 years, 20 years, earlier. Now it is like everybody wants to look at the
yeah.
aspects abroad and get to know things. Yeah, definitely. Now there is
Okay.
a huge increase.
Okay. And Rukma, I think we've covered almost basic topics as to what getting aware of these opportunities of going abroad. A last statement or an advice I would like to get from you for the parents as well.
If I'm being very honest here, if you're planning on sending your kids abroad, if they are interested, let them go. Let them go and find it out for themselves. They will be struggling a bit, I understand, because it's going to be difficult, but then they learn to live on their own. That is what it is about, right? We are not, as parents, we are not going to be with them throughout their lives.
Yeah.
So we have to actually keep the emotions aside and let them learn and let them go abroad, do their whatever they want, do the course, give them the independence, give them the freedom.
Okay.
That is all
So
that I
we'll
have to say.
so yeah. So again, a thumbs up for that. And when we are talking about the country as a whole, is it not a kind of a brain drain? Because most of the majority of the kids who go out of India, they don't want to come back. And India is or may be going into a country like full of old people with all these youngsters settling abroad.
That is obviously true, Akka. I cannot deny the fact that there is a an amount of brain drain that is happening. But then with the kind of education system that India has, all right. So the people who deserve to be doing something aren't allowed to do it.
Yeah.
So till the
Okay.
time all that is abolished, I don't think we'll be able to stop this brain drain. You can't, tell your kid that you have to take this course only because of the caste that you're, that you've been born into. Right. So till the time that is sorted, there will definitely be. But then we do have students, I've seen students who've gone there, been there for a few years and then made some money, they come back to India, or they at least invest in India.
Yeah,
All
right.
So
Yeah.
all that is happening. So that is a positive to all this.
Yeah, the investment has to come back to India. That's what I feel. And the people should be happy wherever they are. We should be able to taking care of ourselves as old is also. So then both are happy. Both the parents and the children both are happy that way. So we have to
Children
equip
both
ourselves
are happy.
with such a mentality. I understand. So here is Women of JSB wishing you all the very best in your new venture. And I have a suggestion that whoever wants to have some kind of light thrown on whatever issues they're facing, or whatever suggestions or whatever they want to know about going abroad, Rukma is always available. She's such a sweetheart. Thank you, Rukma. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Akka.